was actually a Christian. And believe it or not, I didn't mention it, but I started searching for God around the age of 8, 9, and so forth. I got baptized around 9 years old, 10. And I guess you could say I was kind of looking for God at a young age, because, you know, I used to steal. I lived in a pretty rough neighborhood, so like money, you know, I would never ask my parents. So, I mean, you hang around with the wrong crowd, you end up doing the wrong things. But long story short, I felt a guilty conscience for all the bad things that I was doing. So I knew there was an answer towards this negative feeling I was feeling. So, you know, I went searching for the truth, and I met a Christian woman that was a great figure in my life, and took me to church and accepted the word of Christ. And at the end of the day, since then, I was constantly going to church. Then I got baptized and so forth. And as my journey in Christianity continued, as I got closer to God each day, because truly honestly, I never really was worshiping Jesus as an actual God. I always looked at Jesus as a messenger. So one day I was sitting in church and I heard the pastor say, Lord Jesus. And I remember, you know, Lord, oh Lord, it's like, you know, the creator. So I was like kind of questioning right there. But, you know, like everybody out there, they ignore things that they have questions, and they just continue to be content with whatever makes them happy in the present moment. But fast forwarding in life, I ended up going into foster care, and at that time it was a pretty rough stage for me when it came to faith, because I was asking for answers from God, and God was like, you know, I guess making me wait a bit, and basically testing me through certain things. And at the end of the day, it truly turned out good. It all started when I stopped doubting, you know, the Trinity, because like I didn't get answers, like I mentioned in my last video, and I started to seek for more answers, to the point where, you know, in Christianity I kind of gave up on that, not believing in God, but believing in, like, you know, the whole core belief in the Trinity. So I believed in God, and I just continued to live my daily life, still going to church every Sunday because my foster parents at that time forced me to go. It was kind of one of those things that they used as a daycare, kind of left me there and just left. And I was like, hey, whatever, I guess I met some friends and so forth. But I shared a room with my brother, James, aka Abdullah, and he's been Muslim way before time I was Muslim. And when he was Muslim, as a matter of fact, my brothers and my sister would pick on him when he'd be praying. We'd basically just say to him, like, yo, go fly on your magic carpet. You know, he'd be praying, we'd push him, and he would just like continue praying and just steadfast in that patience. And that kind of, like, you know, irritated me even more. And when he'd finish praying, I'd have my Bible and tell him, like, you know, you gotta believe in the word of Christ. You know, he would tell me, I do believe in the word of Christ. And I'm like, no, you don't. You're a Muslim. You're a terrorist, and so forth. And it would just, like, you know, spark up a little anger on my part. My brother would never be that type of person to get upset over certain things. I guess he had the patience, more patience than I ever had. So long story short, I was in my room, and he had a Quran on the shelf. And at that time I was emotional. I was like very young. I think I was 15 years old. And I was basically just emotional because of things that are going on in my life. And then during the flashing back to when I was a Christian, when I was actually trending to leave the faith, about to leave the faith, I said to myself, you know, God, show me the straight way, because I'm confused. You know, show me the straight way, you know, because honestly, like, I'm lost. I'm confused. If there's anything you're gonna show me a sign, anything that it is, show me, and I'll take it, you know, like. And what happened was, you know, I was in the room and I pulled out the Quran. And remember, keep in mind, I had no interest in Islam, zero. Like, you would never even imagine me at that time being Muslim because of everything that was going on in the world, and all the media showing you negativity, feeding you like false news and things about the faith. So I opened the Quran, and the first surah that I saw, the first line that I read was, show me the straight way. Ihdina as-siratal mustaqim. Right then and there, I was stopping my tracks. For some reason, just like everyone else, you share stories, I start to cry because the Quran connected one shot. I didn't even finish the surah, just literally on that first line, and I felt it. And I was like, what is this feeling? What is this connection? Like no other book, not even the Bible, has ever made me feel the way I felt. And I started to cry. And I continued to read the Quran. I just started to like gather answers, and I felt really great. And my brother was coming home, and he was coming home from the mosque, and he was allowed to go to the mosque because he came into foster care as an actual Muslim. So that's when his journey started to practice and so forth. But I waited for him to come home. As soon as he got home, I told him, bro, like, this book. He said to me, what book? I said, the book. He said, which book? This book. He looked at me and he smiled. He's like, what about the book? I'm like, I read it. I felt it. I felt something. He's like, what do you feel? And he starts to smile. And from that day, it was like a brand new me. So he wasn't the type of guy to say, oh, say your shahada. Say your shahada right now. You become Muslim. No, he was like, oh, are you sure? I want to make sure. Are you sure? And for a lot of Muslims out there that are talking to people that want to become Muslim or want to learn about Islam, never, ever, key thing, ever push your core, like your push say the shahada. Because sometimes, they just got to keep on seeing things and too much things get shoved in their face and they just give up. So I was like, he's like, are you sure? Are you sure? I'm like, I'm positive. I want to learn about it. I'm not telling you Muslim yet. I said, I want to learn about it because this has definitely stopped me in my tracks. So I start reading the Quran. He starts teaching me certain things of the surah. Starts relating Christianity and Islam together. It's like a puzzle that's like been missing to me. Like, I'm like, so you guys do believe in Jesus? Like, I've been telling you that. I'm like, this is too much. This is like reality. Jesus, why do you think he said, in the Bible, he said, God, why have you forsaken me? Who's he talking to? He's talking to the Creator. And I'm like, bam. Like, these are the answers that I've been asking my whole life. Long story short, he tells me, what do you think about going to the mosque? I said, I want to go to the mosque. And at that time, I was really afraid to tell my foster parents that I wanted to learn about Islam because they were completely racist. They were completely against Islam. My brother would get remarks that I didn't even want to talk about. And it was just a strong hatred towards the faith. I go, and I'm supposed to go pick up my brother from the mosque. My foster mom pulls in and he goes, go get your brother. So I go into the mosque and I hear the adhan and I feel it again, that same feeling. I feel it again and I'm like, what is that? What is that sound? What is that feeling? It's amazing. So I start sitting in there. As soon as the adhan goes, I wait for the whole prayer to finish, right? And then they start talking, a lecture. Now, keep in mind, my foster mom's outside waiting for me for a good 25 minutes, and she refuses to step into the mosque because, like I said, she has a bit of that inside of her heart. So as I'm listening to the lecture, my brother turns his head and sees me, and I'm like, he's like, what are you doing here? Like, how did you get here? He's so confused. So at the end of the day, he's like, he's waiting, and he's like looking at me. The lecture finishes, and then my foster mom storms into the mosque with her shoes. Can you imagine? With her shoes. Starts walking into the masjid. I forgot, right? So my brother comes and he goes, what happened? So peacefully. Get in your car, right? No. Starts cussing up. And I'm like, whatever. I go into the mosque, go into the car, and I'm talking to my brother. I'm looking at my brother like, it was amazing. He's looking like, what's wrong with you? Like, you're going to get me in trouble. And at that time, it was a scary moment. So he's looking out for himself. So, whatever. So my foster mom saw something in my eye. So she did whatever it took to make sure I don't go back into that mosque. So I started to sneak to the mosque. Every Sunday I was forced to go to this church. And I would say, okay, bye, go to church. And I would take a bus and go all the way to the mosque. Stay there for as long as I could. My brother was terrified that I was doing this. Stayed for as long as I could and then rush right back to the church. And church was great. What did you learn? And I knew everything about Christianity, so I'd talk about it. And she'd be like, oh, that's so great. Yeah. And then one day, she asked me, where are you? And I'm like, I'm coming out of the church. No, you're not. I've been here, been waiting. You're not at the church. I said, I'm at the mosque, by the way, about to leave to make my way to the church. She came super early. So I'm like, damn, there's no running away here. She goes, where are you? I said, I'm at the mosque. She's like, yeah? I'm like, yeah. And by the way, that was the third time I snuck to the mosque, and I took my shahada that same day. That's when I got my name, Amin. And Ramadan was coming up, so it was like, it's like, yo, what am I gonna do? Like, I'm gonna fast? You better believe I'm gonna fast. You better believe it. So what I did was I go home and automatically she puts on the table pork. Now, listen, if it was like non-halal chicken, I probably would have ate it because it's like kind of a transition into my faith, right? Like I wanted to like put pork. And I knew right then and there was my time to tell her that I want to be Muslim because there's no other time. So I said, listen, I want to be Muslim. I chose the faith. Today I took my shahada. She's like, what is that shahada? Listen, became Muslim today. That's it. And I'm not eating this food. She comes and tells me, you're too ungrateful. You gotta eat the food. I'm like, I'm not gonna eat that food. I'm sorry. I'm not eating that food. And believe it or not, a day and a half passed and I haven't ate anything. Now at this point, this is against my rights. But of course, me being as silent as I am, I was supposed to speak up. So whatever. I was drinking water out of the tap. You know, at that time I was happy because she wasn't bugging me. And I was in my room and I was learning Quran. I was trying to learn how to pray, and it was just amazing. And then one day my worker comes in, my social worker comes in. She, we need to talk. I said, what's up? I said, what happened? I said, I want to be Muslim. And my foster mom did this. My foster mom did that. And she was tight with the worker. So it's like I had nowhere to go. Long story short, I go in there and the food's not on the table. She took it off. Why'd she take it off? Take a guess. Because she wants to make herself look good, right? So takes it off the table. And that wasn't the end of it. My foster mom hated the fact that I became Muslim because she knew I was a strong figure towards my two younger brothers. And she would take the Quran, she'd throw it, you know? And, you know, at times I would take her Bible and I'd take it out of the washroom and put it on the stand. And she would get mad. Why are you taking my Bible? I'm like, listen, if you believe your Bible is holy, you should not be putting it in the washroom or use the washroom. She would take it and slam it and throw my Quran off the table. And I had anger issues a little bit. So I'd be telling her, yo, like, my brother would be like, sabr. Yo, sabr's not working right now, but like, yo, I'm gonna keep it calm, because my brother, he's the type of guy, you say something to him, he'll walk away. At the time, it was like a whole thing going on. Like, I was being treated differently because I was a Muslim. And then I said, you know what? Let me talk to my brothers. Let me talk to my brother Joseph and Jay, you know? So I started talking to my brothers. I go, what are you doing? What are you eating? I started getting interested. I'm like, listen, I'm a Muslim now. What? You're like, James? But what about the whole carpet in the Alibaba? I'm like, forget about that. That was all me being ignorant. Want to learn about Islam? He says, yes. Comes in my room. We'd be doing night sessions. We'd sneak to the basement. It's crazy. It was like crazy jihad. It was like a struggle, hardcore. Go in the basement. We'd read Quran so that would be loud. I'm learning tajweed from my brother. Like transliteration, because I can't read Arabic, right? My brothers won't accept Islam. I'm like, okay, let's do it. We go straight to it. We're about to go. My two brothers go to my mother, foster mother, and say, oh, we have something to tell her. She goes, let me guess. You want to be Muslim and you want to be Muslim. She goes, yes. I was expecting it. As I transitioned to be a better Muslim, I was going to the mosques. I did went to different mosques, slept at different mosques, met a whole bunch of people, networked. And that was the most amazing thing that I could ever do, because it brought me close to Allah. It gave me more inspiration to read Quran. And from that day, it was like set in stone that we were Muslim. And it didn't end there. Like when Ramadan came and I wanted to fast, it was like a whole new different level for them. They didn't want that. They would make food. They said we couldn't wake up early to eat. So we'd sneak food. We'd bring food from the mosque home and just start slamming cupboards, and we'd be eating. And then to the point where she couldn't stand anymore, she told us to eat us in the garage. Go in the garage and eat in the garage. It was freezing. Go in the garage and eat in the garage. So we'd sit in the garage just for the sake of Allah. Everything was for the sake of Allah. Just eat in the garage. Because at the end of the day, we got to do it for the sake of Allah. And we did it. Then eventually we ended up moving out of that home, which gave us more of the ability to practice and do whatever we truly feel.